This presentation is about how to be a leader of a volunteer team. Congratulations on being selected. You've been appointed to run a team of volunteers. It's probably an honor, but you know it's going to be a lot of work as well. Maybe you have some experience leading some volunteer teams in the past. This time you want it to succeed. You want to work smart. Well, Weaver can help you run this new team. I'll show you how in this video. Who is Keith Swenson? Well, I spent a large part of my career studying how to support groups of people to get things done. John Buck and I started a nonprofit project dedicated to helping grassroots and volunteer organizations to get more done. And the result is Weaver, an online tool that can help you do this. We did it so that the wisdom of the population can be brought together and to act at the local level to make the world a better place. So no matter what your goal is, arts, community, health, safety, philanthropy, service, whatever it is, we want to help you succeed. Who are you? This talk is for people who are faced with running a team of volunteers to accomplish a goal or to respond to a need. You want to succeed and you want your team to succeed. You do not have a large budget. You can't hire anyone to do anything. You can't pay anyone more than a token amount. Still, you have motivated team members. If you are able to coordinate them properly, you can move mountains. If this sounds like you, keep on watching. I'll go through 6 tips on leading volunteer teams. I'll then explain a little bit about how Weaver can help, and I'll also give you some pointers on some things to avoid in running a team of volunteers. First, value your volunteers. Your volunteers are your gold mine. They are given their time, and we only have so much time. The reason they do this is to accomplish something. That's what they want to do. They want to accomplish something, and they need the others to do it. Your job is simply to assure that the group accomplishes something, because then they will have spent their time and achieved something. What you don't want to do is to waste their time. You don't want a lot of people showing up and going to a lot of meetings and at the end to have nothing to show for it. So simply that's it. Don't waste your volunteers' time. Second, be clear about the goal. So each volunteer comes to the team with their own goals. They have different reasons why they have joined your team. The team was established for a purpose. If somebody comes and joins the team and they have a different goal to do something else, and the team doesn't do that, then they're going to be disappointed and they're going to think it was a big failure. They're going to think that they wasted their time on it. So it's really super important that for each team you have a clear and unambiguous statement of what the team was assembled to accomplish, because that's going to attract the right volunteers that want to see that done, and it's also going to eliminate people who do not have that as a goal. They have a different goal. If you are vague on what your goals of the team are, there will be people who will be disappointed, and that's a kind of a failure. So instead, spend a few minutes, and it really doesn't take more than a few minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. You can actually come up with very good statements for your vision, your mission, your aim, and your domain. Put those in a place where everybody can find them. They will pay off long term in getting the right volunteers onto your team. Third, keep everybody on board. So everybody on the team must support every action that you as a team take. And here's the problem that many of these teams do. They approach it with a voting approach. Let's find out what the majority wants to do. Well, let's take a look at what happens when you do that. So imagine that you are a team and you're faced with some sort of difficult choice. You're putting on an event, and some people on the team think you should rent a large venue, and others think you should be more conservative and rent a small venue. Now, this is the kind of decision that a volunteer team will be up against every day. Well, if you just have a vote, you can then vote, and maybe 5 people vote for one choice and 3 vote for the other. And you think, okay, we've made a decision. But actually what you've done is you've divided the group into two pieces. You have 5 people that are on board and they're ready to go. They support the decision. But the other 3, they didn't make that decision. They voted for something else. They didn't want. They didn't want that one. And they are, of course, less motivated to support it, but actually it can be even worse. They may think that that approach is going to fail, and they can say, see, I told you that that wouldn't work. So that's not what you want. What instead you want to do is make sure, if you don't get a unanimous support of a proposal, go back and make a new proposal. Keep making proposals until you get something that everybody can support. Now, notice this doesn't mean that this would be their first choice. Maybe somebody says, well, I can support that. It'd be better if we did this other thing. However, I can support this. And you want everybody on your team to be able to support it, because only then do you leave the meeting and everybody is aligned to commit to do that. If you don't do this, you will lose volunteers, and volunteers are your gold mine. So that is a strong recommendation. The 4th thing is share documents carefully. Don't send documents by email. Think about it. When you send a document by email, what happens? You are forcing that person to do one of 2 things. First, they have to figure out where to store this, how they're going to find it in the future, find a place, store it, organize all the documents that come in. The second option is they lose it. And that's what most people do. Yeah, some people keep all of their documents in their email inbox with thousands of others. But think about it. Imagine a document that went through 4 or 5 revisions. You go to search for that document in your email. How do you know that you have the latest one? The only way to do it is to search for all the documents with that attachment and then find the one with the latest timestamp. That's just way too much trouble. Instead, store these documents in a place that's accessible to everybody, where people can just go and find them. They don't have to worry about organizing them, but if they need it in the future, they can go back there and find it. Expect that documents will change, and keep the latest one in the top position so that people can easily find the latest version and they don't accidentally use an old version. Finally, and this one is one that leaders forget so often, you will have new people joining the team. You'll have some people leave, you'll have some people join. You should expect a certain amount of change over time. When that new person joins the team, how do they find all those documents that you emailed out to everybody? Are you going to go back to all of the emails you sent and send them again to this new person? Instead, store your documents in a centralized location. Then when people come on board, they're all there. 5th, prepare meetings for value. Meeting time is precious, and volunteer time is precious. So absolutely do not just call a meeting and assume that you'll figure out what the agenda will be during the meeting. Let's ask people what they want to talk about. That's a huge waste of time. If I'm going to be invited to a meeting, I want to know if my time is going to be well spent there or not. I want to know ahead of time what we're going to be discussing so that I can, decide whether to attend or not. Team members are giving their time. Don't waste it. Come up with a plan. Prepare what you're going to do in the meeting, an agenda. Distribute it ahead of time so that people can prepare. Volunteers often don't spend a lot of time preparing, but at least when the meeting starts, you have a clear agenda. You know what you're talking about. Success takes preparation. Finally, and this one's pretty obvious, keep everybody informed. Of course, volunteers are going to miss some meetings. It'd be nice if you could have everybody attend every time, but they won't. You need to have some sort of note, some sort of record of what happened in the past meetings to keep them up to date. Of course, regular email is necessary, but people are going to lose them. Don't expect everyone to retain every message, and unfortunately, don't expect everybody to read every message. But still, you need to send some sort of summary at a regular basis. Keep them on board. Time is wasted arguing over what was decided last time, so you've got to record your decisions clearly. You must organize the supporting documents. Don't expect everybody out there to keep their own library of documents. Make a centralized place. And remember that people will join the team at any time. It's important that the late joiners have access to all the same materials as everyone else. So Weaver can help you. If you are organized at your approach, to organizing this team, then volunteers will help and you will accomplish more. In fact, volunteers are looking to you, the leader, to organize so that they can give their time. And if you organize it properly, they will. Weaver gives you a place to keep for the group all of the documents, all the discussions, the meeting plans, the agendas, the minutes, all the decisions. Everything is there in one place. It's organized by team. And this is important because many of the other online systems, Google Docs, Yahoo, Groups, whatever, are organized around individuals and giving access to individuals. It's very important that you have access control on this so that only the team members can access it. But what you don't want to do is give access to the individuals, because then when a new person joins the team, they don't have access. So now you have to go back and give access to everything. Weaver is designed around a team approach. If you have access to the team, you have access to everything for the team. And you, as a team leader, you don't need to worry about micromanaging who has access to what. It's just a team. Everything is there. Everybody on the team can go. And when someone leaves the team, you can also revoke that access as well. It's easy to plan and run meetings. It's easy to take notes. And there are action items that can be assigned to people and then followed up. This talk is not a tutorial of Weaver. We have lots of other videos which I would refer you to get up and running on it yourself. But I just want to motivate that if you want to succeed as a team leader of volunteers, there are some things that you need to do in order to make that happen. Teams don't run themselves. This is obvious. Weaver is not going to plan your meetings. If you come on board with Weaver, you still have to sit down and make an agenda. Once again, 5 or 10 minutes will probably make a good enough agenda. Distribute it ahead of time so that people have a chance to prepare. Yes, the agenda will change at the last minute. Even up to the meeting itself, you can change the agenda as the first part of the meeting. But at least you should have like 90% out there so that people know what they're going to show up to and discuss. Weaver will not take the notes for you. There are some tools now that will transcribe meetings, and that's pretty cool. But a transcription of a meeting is not the same thing as notes. Notes are more condensed. They're easier to read. They're faster to read. If you miss the meeting, reading the entire transcript can be tedious. So you still want to take notes. However, if the transcripts work for you, you can store those in Weaver as well, whatever you want. But you do have to take the effort of creating the notes. Weaver will not actually create any proposals. The software will not do that. It'll help you communicate them, but you still have to hold the meeting. You still have to talk to everybody. You still have to make decisions and then enter the decisions in there. But if you do this work, it enables the volunteers to contribute their part, and that's contributing to the overall success of the team. So it's all about time. The sooner you start, the more time you will save in the future. You will have to learn to use Weaver if you want to use Weaver. But what I can tell you is that with just a couple hours of investment, 1-2 hours, there's some videos to watch. You can create a workspace, you can create a meeting, you can set up an agenda, and within an hour or two of playing around, you will know everything you need to know to actually run the meeting. Invest that time up front and figure it out. Now, as you start to run your meetings on Weaver, run your group on Weaver, you will encounter resistance. Users don't like learning new tools. They will complain that Weaver does not work the way they're used to it working. Well, one of the reasons is because the tools they're used to working on aren't designed to support a group of volunteers. And so Weaver does some things that need to be done a certain way, and users will have to learn that, and they will resist that. So be prepared to sell the advantages of having all your documents in one place by using it there, by having minutes done ahead of time, by keeping notes on your meetings and keeping them all together. The advantages of that need to be made clear so that users will start to use it. The second thing I want to mention is that a lot of the users will be read-only users. They just are receiving the content. So they are able to access the documents, they're able to access the meeting, the notes and everything. Don't worry about having everybody be trained in it, but just encourage them that it is an important, keep your group memory. You will need at the beginning to set up your workspace with all of the previous information you've had before. And I know that this can be kind of tedious. You may have 40 or 50 documents. You'll have to upload that into the workspace so that you have all of those documents there for everybody else. Yes, that's a little bit of work you do ahead, but it will pay off over time, because once you get all those documents there, you will not have to search for them ever again. You can just point team members, go find it there. There is the ability to search for documents. There are descriptions for why you share them. And so that will save you time, but keep in mind, you have to do a little bit of upfront work. And finally, can't emphasize this too much, stop sending email. Every email you send personally from your personal account is an email that your volunteers are going to have to track, and it's email that your new members are not going to get. Instead, learn how to use Weaver, put the information into the Weaver repository there. It can be emailed from there, it can be accessed from there, but it will be part of the working memory for the group. So those are a few pieces of advice on things to avoid. So in summary, value your customers. That's your gold mine. They're giving their time. All they want in return is to be successful, to have the team be successful. Then they will feel that they got value of contribution. Be clear about the goal so that there's no misunderstandings and everybody knows what they're supposed to do. Keep everybody on board. Don't vote, but instead keep finding a proposal that everybody can support. Share documents carefully. Don't force all your team members to run their own library. Prepare meetings for value. That is, spend a little bit of time, make an agenda so that when people show up, they are discussing what you want to have discussed so that everybody's time is effectively spent. And finally, keep everybody informed. Weaver can help you do all of this. Work smarter, not harder. The basic plan is free forever. That is one leader of the group and one workspace. We're going to make that free forever. That's our commitment. If you want to go larger than that, more people, more workspaces, it's a very small fee. It's a very modest fee. I think you'll see that it's worth it. That's just to pay for the expenses of running the server. Weaver is dedicated to helping grassroots organizations to succeed. I wish you the best luck on that. Please check into Weaver, and if you have any other questions, send it to the Weaver support group. Thank you and have a good day.